Good morning, Mike Brailsford of Brailsford Woodworks back again. Thank you for joining me on my channel. I appreciate it. Today I'm going to do the second of three turnings I wanted to do. The first one was the cherry vase I had done. This again is the same from the same cherry log, and these three things are going to be gifts. And so I'm going to work on my second one, which I believe I'm going to turn this into a great big cherry cookie jar. So let's get started. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put some thin CA glue down into the cracks. Let it soak down in deep as it can. Firm that up. And then I'm going to probably mix some 5-minute epoxy and get it down into this crack and the other big cracks, and let that set up before I proceed. So what I want to plan on doing is making basically a gigantic pill container. For lack of a better term, I'm going to cut it right about here, separate the top from the bottom, and then I'm going to have it so I can fit it back on. But we got to get it where it can hold the piece in one piece first, so let's do that. So I need to put my gloves on while I put on the Bob Smith Industries accelerator. I've previously stated in earlier videos that I'm not fond of the smell. They've added something to try to make it smell, I guess, nicer, but in doing so, they've made it smell, I would say, pretty dreadful. Alright, so I'm going to let that work in for a while, glue, dry up, and then I'll come back. Put in some of the 5-minute epoxy. There's no real pretty way to do this. Of course, getting on my lathe bed, I'll have to get that off. This is going to take me several trips. Alright, on to the next batch of epoxy. So I just recently saw on one of the Facebook groups for turning a gentleman, and he's entitled to his opinion, who was very adamant about not turning anything with cracks in it. And he was showing a blog from a lady who was a turner who had had a piece fly off and had hit her in the face, and she had fractures to her face, and you know, I mean, I feel bad for the lady. I'm sure it was quite painful. She's been through several surgeries, and I won't diminish that at all. But there's, you know, it's not always easy to find the most pristine wood, and I don't know about you all, but I've gotten some of my best turnings from less than pristine wood, stuff with bark inclusions and cracks in certain ways that I've filled that have really, I think, added to the piece rather than taken from it. And it's not always easy, especially for new turners, to find a pristine bowl blank unless you go out and buy a bowl blank. But I don't know how many turners do that, except for brandy new turners, because purchased bowl blanks are quite expensive. But his slogan was, burn it, don't turn it. And again, he's entitled to his opinion, but that's not the way I roll. Like this piece, you know, with this epoxy in it, you have the cracks, you get the thin CA glue down in deep, and you'll have it'll be very, very strongly held together. And you know, and the I would say if you're turning wood that's less than pristine, there's certain common sense things you can do, like don't stand in the line of fire. Always stand to the side. I mean, the first step towards not getting hit in the face. And again, I'm not going to say that you can't do that and still have something happen to you, because it can. But there's risk in life, and I'm not going to live my life bubble wrapped. I'm going to take some chances from time to time. And using less than pristine wood is one of those risks I personally am willing to take. All right, I will get off my soapbox now, and I will let this epoxy set up. I'll be back. All right, so when you use a log like this, one of the dangers you have is as you cut down, you're relieving stresses on the outer layers, which will allow cracks to occur. Like this one wasn't here before, and I filled it, and I'm holding it. But I'll have to probably continue to fill some as they show up as I go. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape the outside off again. I want to get it as flat as much as a cylinder as possible. Then I'm going to start easing off the bottom and the top. I'm going to get them square. And I want to do it so I can get a tenon on the bottom and also a tenon on the top as well, because I'm going to do these. I'm going to get the outside shape the way I want it. Then I'm going to end up separating it, and we'll turn both sections separately. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to work on forming the top. So I got it straightened out, and what I think I'm going to end up doing is I think up here towards the headstock is going to be the bottom. And so I'm going to start forming the tenon that I need there, and then I'll finish shaping what will be the top for me, and get a tenon set up there. Alright, so I'm going to sand the outside of this before I try to separate it. So I sanded the outside to 2000 grit. Feels pretty nice. So now I'm going to try to separate the top and the bottom. I got my dovetail tenons on both ends. So now comes the separation. So I'll try to get it as close as I can, then I'll finish it off on my bandsaw. Well, I had to put it on a faceplate, but now I'm not too happy with how it's out of round. By like a 1/16 of an inch. But I think I got my rim for the top to fit on as being round to the outside. The inside hole will be, not quite round, centered to the outside. Well, them's the brakes. I couldn't, this thing's just not cooperating today. So let's see what I can do. So, I've missed a bunch of stuff. I don't know what I've caught, what I missed. When I edit this, let's see what I got, and hopefully it's not a complete shambles. What a friggin' nightmare this one's been.
Yes, in the entire game. Hey.
Alright, so I'm going to put some Danish oil on this one and call it quits. This has been a very challenging vessel. Yeah. That's about right. Well, this thing started off with a whole lot of promise, and then it fought me tooth and nail. So sometimes you guys have to know when to call it quits. There we go. All right, and that's that. It's I don't know how I feel about it. It's okay, I guess. But you know, I fought it tooth and nail. It didn't want to sit on the. It didn't want to sit in the chucks after I had parted it. I couldn't keep it. I couldn't keep it balanced. It was just, you know, and it fell off the chuck twice. At least the bottom did, and then I had to put it onto a faceplate, and that made for doing the hollowing, and that put it off center. Which I guess if it's a cookie jar, it's really not that big a deal. But I know it's like that. But yeah, all right. It is what it is. Made a go of it. I'll have to rethink some of these things. Probably need to put on glue blocks on the ends if I'm going to do this to better shape it, and then part it off after and have a good piece of wood to affix into my chuck. But at any rate, that's that. Okay, everybody. So I thank you again for watching. Here it is, the results for today, as it is. Please take a look at my other items. They're not all like this. Please leave a comment. Love to know what you think. And as always, please stay safe. Bye-bye.